Don't judge a book by its cover, so the saying goes. Sage advice? Perhaps. Practical? Not at all. Recall the last time you were faced with a multitude of titles on a single subject at the bookstore or library? How did you cull through the mass efficiently to locate the book that would serve your purpose? The advice preferred about not judging a book by its cover is not useful to you at this moment. It is not practical for you to read each book in its entirety or even to speed read through critical sections to determine which book contains the most robust, relevant information for your needs. You need a shortcut. You narrow the possible choices to a few based on book covers, familiar authors, recommendations from others, and the number of volumes of the same book on the shelf. You further narrow your selection by perusing through the book jacket, where you can quickly decipher what critics have to say about the contents of the book. You skim the 1 or 2 paragraph overview provided by the author. If the choices are still too many, perhaps the table of content gets a look, or maybe the thud factor is a consideration. Do I have time to read this heavy book, you ask yourself? Or does it appear to be too technical for my purposes? Why do we take shortcuts? On the surface it seems unjust, but it is how we make sense and sort through the huge amount of sensory stimuli we encounter throughout the day. While few would argue with the beauty of the dream shared by Martin Luther King Jr., where he envisioned a world where people would be judged by the content of their character rather than by the color of their skin, our natural programming makes this unlikely. To judge content, whether found in the pages of a book or in the character of a person, we must allow the information to reach us on a conscious level for assimilation, contemplation, and decision-making. We must assign the powerful thinking center of our brain to the task. In the case of the book, that act occurs only when we find the cover engaging enough to open the book and then invest our time in thoroughly understanding and exploring the content. In the case of the individual, it occurs when we find our perceptions of the person favorable enough to ask questions, listen, and engage in a healthy interpersonal exchange. However, in an increasingly busy existence, we rely more heavily, not less, on shortcuts.
Good morning, I'm Rowena Crosby.
And I'm Deborah Renner, and we're your co-hosts for this show. Thank you for joining us for the next 17 minutes for your IT show. No, we're not talking information technology. We're talking Your Invisible Toolbox, the show that examines the tools essential for working effectively with others.